up, everybody? I'm Joker, and this will be, episode 10 of Your Text Here. I'm joined today by Mr. J. How are you, Jay?
Oh, incredible as always.
No lies detected. And we have today a very special guest, our first guest, Kirstyn. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Just chilling, working,
Hanging out
as always.
Nice.
And then, just so you know, if any of our screens look a little fuzzy, it doesn't come out that way as the final product. Because right now, you look like Super Mario.
Yeah. Yeah, I just see a little blob on my...
It could honestly be my stuff.
No, you're fine. It'll pop up. It'll look fine in the edit. It just looks like that because of the connection.
All right.
But anyway, well, I don't know. Was there a plan for today? Or are we just hanging out? Like, what's the deal, Jay?
Definitely just wanted to catch up for everybody. So y'all know who the heck this person is. She's she used to be our boss back when we worked at the at Starbucks. I don't know if we can say Starbucks. Is anyone planning on dissing Starbucks at all today? Because at some point I might end up trying to work there again, and I don't want them to pull up the podcast, be like, "Well, you said this, this, and this, so you can get out of here." So I think so long as none of us diss it egregiously, I think we can name drop them. But we used to work at Starbucks. She was our assistant manager. She was super cool. What was your impression of us when you first met us? Just a couple of young
I'm
punks.
checking out. No, bye.
I know, right? No, I mean, your guys' first impressions were always good. You guys were always doing your job, and you guys were friendly. You guys weren't the type of people to be like, who is that? Kind of thing. You guys were welcoming. I mean, that's always a plus, because you can go to some places and be like, I don't know, walking into someone's territory and they're ready to jump, and you're like, okay, calm down. I'm just here. Let me introduce myself first. I'm no stranger to Starbucks. But it's a lot is when you go into a place and you have a lot of brand new people that don't know what they're doing, but they got hired to be a manager, and you're like, I expect you to know these things. So I feel like that's what a lot of people kind of watch and see. So that's why I wanted to go in there and be like, I got this. I know what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. Show that you have the knowledge.
Yeah.
We were union too, so it's actually surprising, because normally when you're dealing with a union crew, because I've been a manager over a union crew, that could be a pain.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was just mine. Maybe
Very.
My crew sucked. If any of you are listening right now, screw all of you.
No, for real. I think, too, my last one, I was GM, they were union, but they were so short-staffed, and that, I was always on the floor, but there was never an issue. So, I don't know. I feel like it depends on who you're working with, too. Only, some of you, if you guys are listening, too. If you guys are still on my social media, then I accepted you.
And then plus you had the official coffee master title, didn't you? Or don't you?
I do.
Nice.
Yeah.
They don't do that
So
anymore.
I have coffee master. No, they do, but they do it the easy way now. Before, when I got it back at the airport, we had to do a whole 6-week course on it. So you had to literally do a presentation about your coffee of choice, where it was from, what pairs with it, etc., different ways to brew it, and talk about it. And then you go through everything, even the whole teas at the time when we had Tazo, that all changed to Tivana. Now you can do coffee master training on your phone, and it's literally you watch a bunch of videos, and then you get the black apron, and then people are like, yeah, I got my coffee. I'm like, that's nothing.
It's literally just the title now.
It doesn't even quiz you. Yeah. So I'm like, dang, you guys, I always tell my people though, my Starbucks I'm at right now, that it took time, to learn all these things. I was like, nowadays they make it so easy. And I'm like, that's the one thing that I miss is when Starbucks, you used to have to actually prove that you know what you're doing and saying, instead of just watching a video.
Mm-hmm.
So it's either become a coffee master or play Candy Crush Saga.
Pretty much, yeah.
I wanted that black apron so bad, just because it looked so much more stylish. The lime green, I don't know what kind of green that is. It doesn't look good on anybody.
No.
You just look like a Sprite can.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't stand the green apron. I wanted that black one because it looked it was sexy.
It was clean. It's very clean. But then like honestly, like the material for the aprons started getting really cheap. All my aprons would have holes in them. And I'm like, well, now I look like I just found this out of the trash can. So yeah, so and then it got hard to order them because everyone was ordering them just because they took that little video that they had to watch to get them.
Joker,
I still have my OG one, my original one.
Ooh. What's
Joker,
that?
you're a few years away from Starbucks at this point. Do you still have like? Because I have like a hanger, just like 1,000 aprons. Do you still have any leftover aprons?
Not 1,000. I have one red apron, and I wanted to steal a green one just for nostalgia's sake, as a keepsake. But no, I have a red one that was a holiday one. That one I kept for sure because I remember our other manager. I don't know if I'll name drop him, but Brian. You guys remember Brian?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like, I remember like the holiday came in and there was like a couple red aprons. I was like, yo, can I just take one? And he was like, yeah, sure, whatever. So I kept one. I still have it. Besides that, no. I mean, I have just like a regular apron that I wear at home sometimes when I'm cooking. Yeah, that's about it. I get nostalgic for the idea and like the whole function of making coffee and espresso. I miss that part, but I just have like a basic little coffee maker here at home, or I make pour over coffees in a craft that my sister got me for a birthday a few years ago, I want to say. But yeah, I just hand brew everything now.
Oh, nice.
I don't even know if we. How's everyone's week? How's everybody's? Anything crazy happen? Get punched by a homeless guy or robbed?
I can start this one. My week's been pretty chill. Yeah. So I actually had a dentist appointment yesterday, and that was nice. It's nice to take care of my health. I've been very health conscious the last few years, and apparently everything is tip top shape. I've been doing pretty good on my flossing and brushing and all that stuff. That's about the most exciting thing I had this week.
Speaking of being health conscious, Kirstyn came in with the guns. She's got. I feel like she's got bigger guns than both of us.
Yeah, bro, you're in such good shape. I like kind of sneaked through your Instagram the other day. I'm like, damn, they're looking good. And I'm saving. I was saving. I usually wear cutoffs and stuff and like no sleeves, but I'm saving that for like later down the line. I'm again health conscious, but also self conscious. So I'm just like, I'm not ready to have that much skin exposed on the show.
Oh my goodness. I mean, it's taken so much time because like I always go through like my journeys because like I remember like I was super fit when I was like 20s, and then right after I think I got into like my first like relationship with a girl, and then after that like horrible like era, I ended up gaining like hella weight, and then I met my second horrible relationship, and then I still gained that weight, and then at one point like I was like, oh my god, like I'm not happy. So like back in, I want to say like 2020, 2021 era is when I started doing like self-love, like therapy and all that. That just made me want to do better and be better and feel better. And then also like at the time I had like a lot of family stuff going on too, so like I wanted to be able to like lift if I needed to, or like not feel tired all the time. So I started changing all of that, the gym and stuff, because my brother was going. So I was like, oh, I should go to the gym. But mind you, like I'm the person at the gym at like from 12 a.m. to like 5 a.m. is like when I go because no one's there.
Oh, you're not working out for 5 hours. That's just the window.
No.
You walk in. I thought you were.
Yeah. No.
I was gonna say, if you're in there for 5 hours, then you're slacking at that point.
No, like I wanted to touch all the machines and not have to worry about having to wait for someone to leave or someone to leave it dirty. So that's why it's like that was my time to go. But then I don't know, then I started getting back into running, and I love running, and then eating better. And then when I got into management again in 2021, I was walking because I had like 2 Starbucks, different ends of the hotel. So I was going back and forth, barely eating. I would snack on the go. And then I was spending literally like 90% of my life there, 12-hour days, even longer, because that was still like COVID era. And, I had to help wherever I could. But I think that helped too. And then it's just kind of maintaining it.
That was a big hotel too, and so I know that was quite a walk from one Starbucks to the other.
Oh my God. And having to do it multiple times. But also the food court too is kind of like making my way. Because I'm the type of person, I always like to go say hi. Even if you're not actually mine, like the two Starbucks were, like I still acknowledged everybody. Because, you know, they needed a manager because, you know, no offense to these managers watching if they watch, but you guys sucked. So, you know, I was the only one on the floor that you can be like, oh, where's Kirstyn? Oh, there she is. And there you see my head over there, you know, sweating. But like, I did my job. Like, I love what I did.
But that's good. It shows initiative, and then along with that, you're making rapport with like everybody else. They don't have to be just on your team, like you said. It's nice making those connections with other staff and getting your name known around the place.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what I liked is like you build a good like respect with the team. And that's what like whenever I go to interviews, because I'm actually leaving my Starbucks next Wednesday and then I start a brand new job on the 29th of this month. But like the lady that had interviewed me was just asking me like, you know, how do you like team build? I'm like, you learn their names first of all, like you introduce yourself. You don't just go on there and then be like, okay, so what am I doing? And you don't even know who you're working with. That's always been my biggest thing because I hate when managers are like, oh, so-and-so and so-and-so. But I'm like, do you know their names?
This one
and
and
then
that
they're like, oh, no. How do you not know their names? It's like, here I am learning everybody's names, like kind of learning a little bit about them so I can be like, oh, hey, how are you? How are your kids? Or you know, how was basketball? I don't know. But it's just the fact is, like, you build that kind of respect and that relationship with your team. I mean, you're going to be stuck working with people. So it's like, it's good to kind of like, you know, get that friendliness going on too, but still like putting it in place, you know, you're their boss, but knowing that they can come to you whenever they need you or whatever, like that's all that matters to me. Yeah, so I start a new job at the end of the month. I'm actually going to Zippy's, the Hawaiian place.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you wanted
with
to
Brian.
name drop. Yeah, she's gonna see Brian again.
Nice.
Yeah, and Diane.
Do you remember Diane? You remember Diane, right?
Yep. So Diane's there.
Yeah, I love Diane.
Okay, I don't have nothing bad to say.
No, Diane is incredible. Diane, if you watch this, I love you. I wouldn't have ended up in my management position if it weren't for her because she got me into Caesars, and that's kind of where I worked my way up the ladder. And then as soon as I got to the top of the ladder, I instantly wanted to jump off of it.
Yeah.
Now, and I don't think you two never got a chance to hang out outside of work, right?
No, I only just knew you at work.
Oh, I think didn't we all do a group thing with, was it Diane or what's her name? Melissa? When we went bowling?
Oh yeah, there was one night.
I
Yeah,
went bowling.
I think it
Yeah.
was.
There's like a picture floating around on someone's social media with all of us.
Yes. Yeah, it was bowling. I don't remember what it was for, but I remember also.
I think it was your birthday.
Yeah, around that week, it was my birthday, and we were just kind of like, we kind of just added it on top of there. We're like, hey, this is another reason to hang out. Yeah, it was me, Kirstyn. I remember Laura being there, Diane, maybe Nick Nack. I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there was
I
a
don't even know if she
couple of
started
us
working
there.
by that time. Yeah, we want to get Nick Nack on here at some point too. Yeah, is that the first time you and I ever hung out too out of work?
I don't know. Again, like we've said plenty before, is just something about our history. It just felt like we've known each other forever. So I have no specific pinpoint memories. One of my favorite memories of you though is at work again. It was when sometimes, the management would bring us donuts and treats and stuff. And I remember I was leaving and, there's like that back door you just swing open. And I just like opened the back door to say bye. And I see you like hunched over like Golem, just going on these donuts, just going ham. I'm like, bye, Jay. And you're like, you're just like looking at me with donuts in your mouth. I'm like, oh, I'm interrupting. Sorry. Bye. It was a blueberry cake donut.
Oh
That's
God.
what it was. Blueberry cake donut.
Ooh, I throw down on blueberry cake. No wonder.
Exactly.
I'm surprised I responded.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
didn't.
sure.
You just
Different
looked at me
realm.
with your mouth full of donut. I'm like, I'll see you later.
Kirstyn, we appreciate you being our first guest. Did you bring us any gifts or anything like that? Any presents? It's tradition. Our guest always brings us presents when they come on our podcast.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. It's gonna be.
I brought
Now it
myself.
is, yeah.
uh,
I showed up.
have you ever thought of doing something like this? Wanted to be an influencer, or I don't know, start a
I
TikTok?
mean, at one point, I am on TikTok. I haven't posted videos in a minute just because last year I went through a lot. But no, like last year, like I went through a lot. But like I have a TikTok. I was posting for a minute. It was more like my self love, like mental health journey I was going through, kind of like portraying myself. I mean, even when before TikTok even took off, like I always was big on foods. Like I love cooking. I like eating, and then I like
Mm-hmm.
to, try different foods. And at one point I wanted to be a food critic, but then I found out like I have a lot of allergies to certain foods. So it's kind of hard to, especially when like, you don't know, you can't just go to a restaurant and be like, oh, so what is this? Like, what are the ingredients kind of thing all the time. I just kind of just
Mm-hmm.
enjoy food now quietly. Other than that, like, yeah, like I was on like, and then Instagram for one point, like, was just kind of based off of life and everything. And I haven't really been like big on social media as much just because like I said, like I deal with stuff mentally. Like I'm really big on mental health. So when I'm mentally checked out, I kind of go quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why like I wanted to like talk about it a little bit, but I'm trying to get back into it this year. It's just, right now it's been a little struggle like earlier this year. So it's kind of like, let me phase out. So give me another month or two.
I get that. I have the socials too. I try to use them all as often as I can, but sometimes it's either I don't have the creative energy or I'm just like, what's the point? No one's gonna watch
Yeah.
this, right? But then I'm like, I shouldn't do this for other people. I gotta put this stuff out for me, and if it makes me feel better, and especially just because I do more like art, drawing, and like virtual photography, so I'm like, if I want to put this out there for people to see, I should do it because
Yeah.
it makes me happy. You know.
Yeah, he's got some great virtual photography on his Instagram page.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, like it looks like legit photographs. It's crazy how far graphics have come, but yeah, it looks like legit photographs. He knows how to get the angles, and then I mean, on top of that, on this podcast at least, I consider him the superstar.
No thanks. No. Oh man, I don't like being the. I don't want to. I don't. You know how some people have that main character complex. I don't want that. That's not me.
You have the side character complex.
Sure, yeah, I'll be the side character. I'll have like, some people will prefer that character, but no, I'm fine. I'm just a part of the whole. That's it.
I'm the same way too. I don't like. I like just like just keep me in the background. Y'all do your thing. I wanted to do podcasts just because I'm jealous. These kids are making bank
That is true.
on this
Mhm.
podcast. I'm like, you're 12 years old. Why do you have more money than I? I'm struggling. You're 12 years old,
No, for real.
and you got a Tesla.
But wait, going back to our old episode, let's not. We don't need to turn it into anger. We got to turn that into inspiration. Use that as your fuel. Keep going.
For real. Well, and I was like, I think that like back, and it's so weird to say, like back in our day, like as we got older, we didn't have like half of this. Like as bad as that sounds, it's like
Yeah.
I feel like after like TikTok took off, like during COVID, that's when everyone jumped on the bandwagon. And if you got picked up, you got picked up. But now it's like, it's so out there. And then what happens if TikTok decides to disappear? What's the next social media thing that's gonna pop out? And that's why I'm just like, dang, I was like, all the technology and all that is like getting better as it goes. Whereas before, like we didn't have all this like fancy setup or like really, I don't know. I guess there were cool things to do. We're too busy trying to like hustle. And I think that's how we grew up. Cause I'm like, some of these people nowadays, like I always say it is like, you guys expect a lot more, but like we got paid less and still hustled and we're like, okay, like this was great. And then now I'm like, dang, like, we have to like inflation and all that has been going on and they're expecting more money to get paid to do what? Not work. And so that's why I'm just like, dang, like
Right.
you think it's easy to take the easy way out to make videos and be like, yeah, this is me. This is the day in the life kind of thing. And then you're like, oh, cool. Like, who wants to watch me get ready? Like, come on. Like,
Yeah, the get ready with me videos. Yeah,
I'll tell you what. If I was hot enough, I would start an OnlyFans.
exactly. See, something can just be just as superficial as that. Just I'm attractive. I'm gonna just expose myself.
Oh yeah, I'd flash everything. Give you all the bits, both bits and the piece.
The twig and the cherries.
The branch and the cherry. Dare you?
Excuse me. Pardon me.
Yeah. What food allergies do you have?
So I'm allergic to nuts, so that explains why I'm gay. That is my like go-to like lesbian joke.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah, so whenever I say that, people are like, really? And I'm like, yep. So I'm allergic to like literally all tree nuts, but I still do eat like almonds, cashews, peanut a little bit just because like those are my favorite. Like I love chocolate covered almonds, chocolate covered peanuts. Cashews are like more so just like the unsalted, but they're good for protein, you know. But and then sesame seeds and sesame oil I have an allergy to, which is so weird because I'm Asian and I grew up with that. So I still eat it, but I have to eat it to like a certain point. Like if I start feeling a little like out of breath, like I just worked out, then I know that I need to stop. Oh, I was allergic at one point to shellfish. So like seafood boils were not supposed to be my thing, but I love seafood boils. So I still eat it until like, you know, I can't breathe and then I just pop a allergy pill and I'm good to go. Like
That's me with food in general. I eat till I can't breathe.
yeah. I'm like, you can get rid of everything else, but don't kill my food, like, you know. So
Yeah, you wait till the food's like, hey, you might die here. It's like,
yeah.
oh, maybe I should put it down.
I'll go out happy.
Exactly. And you know what, like even if I eat certain things, so like one time I went to this Asian restaurant and I got their like spicy wontons and there was like this sauce in the middle and I was like, oh, that looks good. So I'm here I am like dipping it and then I'm like, why does this taste like peanut butter? And I was just like, whatever. And maybe it's not. Maybe it's just some fancy sauce. So later on, I asked the lady, I'm like, oh, what kind of sauce was it? And she's like, oh, it's peanut butter. Like, we freshly grind it. Well, freshly ground peanut butter hits me faster than, like, peanut butter in a jar. And so I remember I went home, and I'm, like, getting itchy. And I'm like, oh, my God, I can't breathe. I passed out. Luckily, it was, like, on my bed. So, like, I felt like I just fell asleep. But like I remember, like I woke up and I like broke out in hives and everything, and I was like, "Oh my God!" So I know my limits. I just like to test my limits at the same time too. Because after I woke up and I'm like, "Dang, I got hives all over the place." Like I still feel kind of weird. I like took like 3 allergy pills. That was good. So I'm like, it's a cure all. So, but
Man, the struggle.
I know.
I can't imagine because, yeah, like you said earlier, I love food too. Food it's amazing. It's part of life.
Yeah.
But because I mean, I know I've heard people that are lactose intolerant, and sometimes they'll eat an ice cream. They're like, it's worth it. It's fine.
Yeah.
And they'll just deal with the consequences later.
Exactly.
How about you, Jay? Do you have any food allergies?
No food allergies. Well, I think I actually became a little lactose intolerant because I haven't done milk, like normal milk, in a long time. So every now and again when I go back to just like regular milk, I get real gassy. It's a horrible experience for everyone around me. But ice cream and yogurt, for the most part, I'm fine. But yeah, just normal milk. I think it's actually every adult human is actually lactose intolerant to an extent.
Yeah.
I mean, all humans aren't.
Scientifically.
You're not supposed to have milk until after age 2 or 3. So
Yeah.
nobody should have milk anyway.
Yeah, like the enzymes that you need to break it down, apparently you lose that as you get older. So, yeah. I am lactose intolerant to a certain extent, but for the most part, no. I did make a promise with my brother that once he moves out of the house, out of my mom's house, I would stop eating pork. And so I have given up pork,
Nice.
which... Yeah, I didn't think it'd be that hard because I feel like, I don't eat that much pork. But now, like, I go to McDonald's or Wendy's, I see that Baconator, I'm like, dang, I'll miss that Baconator, baby.
Oh my God, talking about the Baconator, which is funny because so like it was a couple years ago. The girl that I'm talking to, we went to like Wendy's after she had gotten off work. So we're sitting waiting to go pay for the food, right? And like this is one of those new Wendy's where they have like all the windows, like it's like I don't know, like if what the concept is. They're making it more like modern looking, where they're making a lot of these fast food restaurants like just windows. So one of these Wendy's is just like windows, and like you see the kid in the back that's supposed to be separating the bacon. So you should be using gloves, right? Well, this kid is literally like taking his bare hands and he's all like touching the bacon and then he's touching his hair and then going back in the bacon. I'm like,
Scratching his nuts.
and then yeah, and this girl just ordered like bacon cheese fries, and I'm like, we're probably gonna find a hair or two up in here, cause like this kid like literally is like scratching his head and then going back in the bacon. So like now every time we pass this Wendy's, I'm like, oh, it's bacon fingers. Like we ain't coming here ever again. So, but I'm like, oh my god, I don't know. Like I guess being like working in the food industry for so long, you're just like I don't know. I'm very like when it comes to a lot of places because like all like my Starbucks that I'm at right now, like it is probably the most cleanest, spotless Starbucks ever, and I take pride in that, and my team knows that too. So like they're always like, oh, if person's cleaning, let's start cleaning, but they usually do it automatically because they don't like me having to clean all the time, which is nice, but I like doing it. But ever since then, I'm just like everywhere I go, I'm very like look because I'm like let me see where I'm walking into, you know? But even then too, it's bad because it's like we grew up going to like these hole in the wall like places to eat and the food is great. And then if you look what behind the kitchen, then you're like, oh God, like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's going on. Or you read all these reviews because you know Yelp is good and bad at the same time. Like it's good to see reviews, but it's also bad because you're like, dang, I've been eating here my whole life and people are
Right.
commenting on all these things now and I'm like, oh my God. So that's why it kind of makes me like I like eating out, but then I don't. Like I rather eat at home because I know it's clean.
Well, if you're lesbian, you have to like eating out, don't you?
It comes with the territory.
Ooh, yes. That is that was a good one.
That's a good one.
Quoted by Jordan.
I mean, I love it too. Make no mistake.
You don't have to be
speaking
gay.
Speaking of which, not cunnilingus, but the food stuff. At one
Same
point,
thing.
you wanted to didn't you want to start a food truck?
I did and I do still. Like so I will say like so last year like I lost my grandma and that was one of my hardest losses I've ever had to face, and she always inspired my cooking and my passion for food. Um and because like she taught me how to cook at a young age. So like I was always in the kitchen around like I want to say like 7 years old with her, you know, and just learning everything. And then I learned how to like cook with just by tasting like and smell. And so that was like very nostalgic for me. And then when she passed and stuff, like I kind of lost my passion for cooking. I lost my passion for a lot of things, but mainly cooking was one of them because I used to cook for her because like near like the last couple years I was with her, I was her caregiver, and my aunt who had passed like a couple years prior to my grandma passing. But I used to cook all the time and take care, so I was always used to cooking for them. And even for like my fam, like my parents too. Like my dad became like diabetic and stuff, and I was like learning different ways to cook because you know it's good to know. And then I think that's why too. Like I'm not a big salt person because like I learned to cook with like less salt or no salt, and I'm like, huh, it's actually pretty good depending on what you make, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I always wanted to open up my own food truck or like my own like coffee shop. And I mean, that's still goals. I haven't lost that. It's just kind of like seeing what like I guess I'm trying to see where life is gonna take me right now. You know, so that's
Mm-hmm.
why like, you know, I've been with Starbucks like off and on for 15 years. And every time I leave it, I always go back to it because I miss like making coffees. I miss the whole concept. I miss talking to people, you know, when you get used to talking to customers. And so it's kind of one of those things where it's like back and forth. And now going to Zippy's, like I'm going to be learning the whole restaurant, like bakery aspect of that. And I think that's going to be awesome because maybe it's going to like bring back like what I want to do. So I think maybe these are kind of like reminders of like, you know, you still got it. You just have to kind of like get back into it, which I do cook like for myself. I rely on frozen food. I think frozen food from Trader Joe's is like superb. But like I do cook like this girl that I'm talking to, like I do like make her like food every now and then or bake to be sweet and stuff because you know I'm a hopeless romantic. But also it's just like, you know, I have to be in the mood to want to do it too. So, because I like cooking for people, it's just finding that real passion to actually want to cook for myself is one of those things.
Talking about like cooking for others, like I think that's one of my favorite parts of cooking is having something to present someone. And like, I took the time to make this essentially for you, and seeing their reactions when you make something really good. And like, I've recently found myself missing parts of Starbucks, is having that sort of making a connection with somebody, but also sure, it's just coffee, but you're making the coffee for them, specifically for that person, especially with their, it's got their name on it every time. So it's nice making something for someone and then having their reaction, especially when you get it like just right. And besides just coffee, is like when you make food for a loved one or even just a random guest, is I like seeing their reactions and having that
Yeah.
that feedback of like, oh, this was so great, I loved it, and
Nice.
how did you know, and how did you make this, and it's fun.
Brother can cook too. Brother can cook. I forgot what he. Did you make me pasta or I forgot what? You made me a few different things. I think one of them was pasta at some point. But have you ever thought of like doing a restaurant, food truck, anything like that?
Me, I would like to. I mean, kind of like what Kirstyn's saying, just seeing where life takes me. Because my dad, he owns his own restaurant. He lives down in Mexico, and he owns his own restaurant. I have an uncle in Cali. He owns his own restaurant. He's had a few, actually. Yeah, they've inspired me a little bit to maybe someday open up my own kind of thing. I just don't know what yet. Yeah, I don't know if I would be sort of like a bakery thing or some specific food group. Also, like earlier, Kirstyn, you mentioned food trucks out here in Oregon. There's like a whole food truck culture. I don't know if it's like a West Coast thing, because I know it's big in Cali and parts of like LA and Hollywood, but here in Oregon there's like food trucks everywhere. We have sort of like food courts where there's multiple food trucks of like all different types of flavors and cultures.
Yeah.
And just it's a big thing. I think like even there's a part of the culinary schools out here that's like just learning about food truck business and how to run them, and the whole culture around that too.
So that's awesome, because I know the last time I was in Oregon, I went with my best friend, and I know like out in Portland, I think we were walking around and we ended up at one of the food truck like little spots where there's like tons of food trucks lined up, and I was like,
Yeah,
oh my god,
yeah.
I want to eat at all of them, but I'm like, I don't got
Mhm.
that kind of money or that kind of stomach at the moment. But I was like, that's pretty like dope, because, and it's funny because I was telling Jordan, like, I want to eventually, like, I love Oregon. I love, like, the gloominess. And I feel like, and right now too, like, I don't know, like my phone buzzed a little bit ago because there was like a weather warning or something like that because it's about to rain. But
Yeah,
Mhm.
apparently we're getting a flash flood.
yeah, so that's why it's like it's gloomy right now, but I love it. But I was like, my goal is to eventually like move to Oregon. Like I want to live out on the coast or something because it's beautiful, and I just like the like area. But I got to take a lot of road trips up there to kind of
Nice.
like get a better perspective on it and the area I want to be at. But that's always been goals. Like that was always like a hot spot. Like one of my best friend and I went, like we wanted to try like all the coffee shops. Of course, you had to hit up
Mhm.
Voodoo Donut, but I'm not a big donut person, so I was kind of like, okay. Like, the only experience I got from Voodoo Donut was fighting with a crackhead, and like, yeah,
That sounds about right. That's Oregon.
literally, like I was only like I was taking a photo with my best friend and I, and this guy thought I was taking a photo of him, and I'm like, dude, I'm not. Like, mind your business. Yeah, but that was like my like main experience from Voodoo Donuts. But
There's that main character complex again.
yeah,
It's not about you.
I thought you were fighting the crackhead over a donut. I was gonna say that's great advertising for Voodoo Donuts. It's like crackheads go crazy for
I
Voodoo
know.
Donuts.
No, he couldn't afford a donut, so
Sorry, spent it all on crack.
He's like
Gotta
those
get gotta get
panhandlers.
an
Like, you
original
took a
footage.
picture of me. That's $10.
yeah. And then they go and chase you for your $10. But I think they made it a law.
For
No,
what?
didn't they do that like here in, like on Fremont Street? Like you know how like you had all those people for farming, and then if you take pictures with them, like they demanded money or like they would like harass you until you gave them something. But now it's like they're not allowed to harass you. Like it's like like tips. Like it's your choice to tip kind of thing. So I thought they made it like a law or like a rule or something. But I was like, dang, people get crazy like over that.
So now it's just like a
So you're
voluntary
I
thing,
guess
like
so.
okay.
So if I take a picture with the topless nun, I could just walk away right after and not.
Pretty much, yeah. Like they're not supposed to like harass you or chase you or something like that. Like they add us like when they perform, they stay in their circles. I guess like you
Hmm.
have like circle time, and then you like I don't know, like they can't like you can they have their tips out, and you're like you can feel free to tip them, but they're not like they can't ask you for more money or like harass you.
Would that be
So
like
I
a
don't
form
know.
of soliciting, I guess, then?
I guess or yeah, I don't even know. I haven't been to Fremont in forever. Like
Hmm.
I don't know. It's not like the greatest area to go down, so and parking
Chase me
sucks.
would be
So
crazy.
Hmm.
Can you imagine running down Fremont Street with a topless nun just chasing you down?
Oh man, the stories.
that would be something
What
on
happened?
TikTok.
Yeah, baby mama drama.
Baby mama drama. Are you familiar with ghost kitchens at all?
Yes.
I was considering maybe starting a ghost kitchen business. I just don't know what it would be. I can't cook. Y'all are the ones with any cooking skill. I can deep fry a piece of chicken until it's black and somewhat edible.
And
So I
microwave
mean,
broccoli.
and microwave. I can microwave the heck out of some broccoli. But I feel like that wouldn't be a great concept for a ghost kitchen, at least. So I wanted to come to you guys as the cooking aficionados and see what you would do as a ghost kitchen concept.
So for me, what is a ghost kitchen? I don't know. I've never heard this term before.
Okay, so ghost kitchen, because nowadays, since Postmates and Uber Eats and Grubhub delivery,
Mhm.
food delivery is such a prevalent thing. There's things called ghost kitchens where you kind of rent out time and you prepare food and sell it through delivery apps, and you operate out of this ghost kitchen. It's got all the food safety certifications and everything you need, and you can actually just deliver out of that ghost kitchen, or in some cases, you can even do it outside of a restaurant that already exists. So on Postmates, you'll see a restaurant that says like Joker's Pizza, but it's actually comes out of like Chuck E. Cheese or something like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's less foot traffic and most of it's all just food delivery
Yeah.
customers.
Because you see that all
So-
over Uber Eats. Like
Yeah.
the ghost kitchen.
Yeah.
'Cause, like there was like Mr. Beast had one and I'm like, really? So
Oh, he didn't have one. He had several hundred,
oh for
and he did it
real?
like overnight. Yeah,
Wow.
he did it overnight in like one day. They're like, how the heck did he open up like hundreds of restaurants
yeah.
overnight? It was all through ghost kitchens.
Dang. No, I haven't
So-
heard of that till this very moment. But I think it's because I don't order food out like delivery very much. I like to cook, like
Oh,
I
yeah.
said.
Yeah, it's growing. So I mean, if I had a cool concept of just like, I was even thinking maybe just like a cafe food, like we could deliver through. If I were to open up a ghost kitchen, would you be in, Kirsten?
I'd be down.
Okay.
That'd be dope.
Okay.
I mean, it
Okay.
depends because like I can cook like some Hawaiian food. I can cook some homemade like American food. Like I know some Mexican food just because my ex, and then I make a killer sandwich.
And then Joker might be. I know Joker's discussed a desire to come back to our desert with flash floods. So maybe at some point we'll all open up a ghost kitchen together.
I would love
Yeah, that'd be
to.
dope.
Because I mean, like, look at us now. Just all of us catching up again, reconnecting. So if I went back to Vegas, oh man, I would just first of all I would want to hug everybody again. I'm like, I miss you so much. I like having that physical touch. Oh, I haven't seen my family in forever. I haven't given them like a nice big hug in forever. So that's a big part of
Aw.
it for me. Yeah, but yeah, I feel like. So now that we're like Jay and I, the last few weeks we've been like making these moves on here. I feel like if we were in person together, we would be unstoppable.
Yeah,
That would be the most exciting thing.
Yeah, we could put together a whole set. Kirstyn would actually just be sitting next to us. I do think that it would take things up a notch just to kind of have like the physical interaction, because through here, if the camera glitches or something, then we're kind of screwed. But yeah, I think that'd be fantastic
Hell yeah.
if we were all together in person. But for now, we're doing it COVID style, just several feet apart.
Several.
Also, so Joker, I know last time you said you had some Reddit stories that you wanted to talk about.
You want to do that
Get
today?
some
I can do that
opinions?
today. Yeah.
I mean, we got an extra opinion. I think the more the merrier, right? Kirstyn, are you familiar with, like, have you done anything Reddit or seen any content where they just like, read react?
So talking about Reddit, because I only know it because, like I said, like I've been talking to this girl for a minute, and she sends me. She's like TikTok. She loves TikTok. It's only because out of boredom she'll watch it, but she always sends me all these TikToks with the Reddit stories where, like, of course, like they're talking about it, and then you see them playing like a video game in the background. But like, she sends me all these stories, and I'm like, what? Like, what is this? Like, some of them are so like far fetched, and I'm like, this is what you listen to, like, you know. But then again, like, she's into the whole, like, she likes watching like serial killer documentaries and all this stuff. So like, listening to some of these stories, I'm like, that's trippy. So I only know it because of her. But like, I've tried to read some, and I'm like, this is intense stuff. Like sometimes. So
I feel like Reddit is like the new sort of like Jerry Springer kind of like, you know, you get to just point and look at people's drama, being like, you know, comparing and, oh, I'm so thankful I don't have to go through that, or like, these people are crazy, like what is happening? Just be judgmental of everyone else.
Yeah, it can get pretty outlandish.
Okay, so yeah, I went down. Had this idea of, just because Jay he had this idea for giving out advice and just being, you know, helpful to people if they have any needs. So I just wanted to be like a little more, maybe not as serious. So my idea was just to go down the "Am I the asshole" Reddit and just have people give their stories of what happened, and we can just give our opinions, I guess.
And that is one of the more entertaining threads too.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's a moral question. Okay, so this first one is, am I the asshole for slapping a teenager? So I, 32-year-old female, was at a water park this last weekend with my husband, 32-year-old male, and my daughter. We were in one of the pools practicing swimming and keeping to ourselves. There was a group of teen boys there, and while I was working with my daughter on swimming, one of them came up behind me, and I felt a tug on the strings of my top, untying it. I spun around, saw this 15 or 17-year-old with a smirk, and slapped them. This quickly caused a scene. The park staff got involved, as well as the boys' parents, who were livid at me. My husband and another lady saw it happen and confirmed that he really did grab my top. There was also a camera around the pool that kind of showed it. Wasn't the best angle. The boys' parents threatened assault charges, and I threatened sexual assault charges if they decide to go that way. Eventually, we were both asked to leave and haven't heard anything since. My husband, though, still thinks I overreacted a bit, which I don't. Am I the asshole?
dang.
Get a new husband.
No. Get a new husband.
Amen, brother.
kidding me?
Exactly. Yeah. Are you? He said he saw it.
The child was
I know.
15, 16. He knew what he was doing. He was trying to see some titties.
Yeah. Exactly. Even if the husband was like, oh, the boys just being boys. No, fuck that. I'm going to bleep this out, but fuck that. No.
Yeah, no, for real.
No, yeah, if you're a 15, 16-year-old boy, he's been jerking off for 4 or 5 years. If she slapped some 5-year-old, it's like, okay, that's different. 15, 16-year-old boy trying to get your top off, no. Open and shut case.
Nice. Okay, so I'm glad we all kind of agree. Yeah, most of the commenters were like, not the asshole. That's a natural reaction. I'd probably do the same by natural reflex. And then, yeah, there's a lot of people being like, what's up with your husband? Why?
Yeah.
Saying that she's overreacting.
Has anything like that ever happened to you? Or we're not women.
No,
so
I don't wear tops
can't
at the
speak
beach.
to that.
No, like, so like when I was like in my whole like girly girl stage and stuff, and even when I wear like bikinis and whatnot, like no, like no one ever came towards me to be able to do that because I'm very like don't touch me kind of person. So that never would happen. If anything, like you just get the creepy guys that like will like be like, oh, I can take that off for you, and I'm like, ew, no, thank you. You're like the age. You're like the age of my father. I'm cool. Like. But like that was about all. Like I never had to experience that. But then like I don't know. It's so weird because I feel like. And maybe it's me because like I'm 34 right now, and like, wait, am I 34? Yeah, it's been like I'm trying to figure out my age, but I am. But it's just the fact is, it's like I feel like a lot of these teenagers now like need to get smacked. Like
Yes.
like I see it all the time, like when I work at Starbucks or in general, and I'm like, did you never get smacked? And it's funny because it's like. My parents like used to well mainly my mom. My dad never liked to like hit or anything. Like he'd be the scolder, but not like physical anything. With my mom, she's Asian, of course. Like you're gonna get whooped. And I am so grateful. Like back then, like I hated it, but now like I look back and I'm so grateful for like that discipline that I got. And nowadays it's like you see these kids, you're like explains a lot. You never got smacked, so maybe he needed like a lesson. So, but yeah, if anyone, like, even if I were to see that, like in general, like if it was someone else getting their top kind of like taken off, I would go and push the kid too. Like,
Yeah, I feel like I would have at least said something, be like, no, dude, I saw it. Like this kid's being weird.
Yeah.
Well deserved.
Public stance from the Your Text Your podcast. Smack your children more.
Yes.
It makes a difference sometimes.
It does.
Okay, here's another couple. So, am I the asshole for rejecting the worst name ever for our offspring? I already don't like that they're calling their kid an offspring. That's kind of cringy to me. Anyway.
That is weird.
So my husband, 38 male, and I, 36 female, are expecting our first child, a bouncing baby girl, due in a few months. We were both over the moon when we found out the gender, but now things have gotten complicated, to say the least. So when we first started talking about names, the boy name, quote unquote, was immediately decided. Stuart Jr. After my husband. No problem there. It's a classic name and carries family meaning. But for a girl, things got murky. My husband suggested Stuarta. No, you're not having a stroke. Apparently his logic is that since Stuart ends in T, we can just add an A to make it feminine. I tried explaining why that doesn't quite work, how it sounds more like a furniture brand than a human name, how she'd be endlessly correcting people and explaining its origin. He's adamant, though, says it honors him while giving our daughter a unique name. I've suggested alternatives, feminine names that maybe share a similar sound or meaning to Stuart, names he's mentioned liking in the past, even just going back to the drawing board entirely. But he's fixated on Stuarta. Now, I love my husband dearly, and I understand wanting to honor family, but I can't imagine subjecting our daughter to a lifetime of awkward stares and endless questions about her unusual name. I also worry about potential bullying and the impact it could have on her self-esteem. Yeah. Stuarta for a little girl's name.
No.
Just no.
So far, I like that both of these are about toxic masculinity.
That's the cause about 70% of the problems in the world right now is toxic masculinity. Stuarta. It's crazy to me that people have to come to Reddit to be like, am I crazy? Like, this is stupid, right? Like,
Yeah.
that the fact that they even have to question it.
But like,
Yeah.
who would do that? I mean, that's like adding like when you like so like it's the thing is like how like when people be like, oh, I know how to speak Spanish, for instance, you just add like an A or something to it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Like it's okay, it's still Spanish, and you're like, no, just because you add an A on something.
Yeah, I knew exactly where you were going. I've had that before. People just think they know how to speak. I can't even fake it because it's weird. But yeah, I get it. Wanting to have a junior, especially like I'm out of the three of us, I'm the only parent here. But I don't. Me personally, I've never liked the idea of having a junior. If they're their own person, that kid's gonna be their own thing. They're gonna grow up to be their own whatever. But they're already your flesh and blood. You don't need to stick your name on top of that. And just I don't know. What do you want? Like a mini me? That feels weird. So especially for they're different genders. So Stuarta sounds dumb to begin with.
Yeah.
But yeah, him just like tacking it on like, oh, it'll be a junior of. He's not even saying like junior of us. He's like, it'll be like a part of me kind of thing, you know. And then there's that toxic masculinity coming in, like ownership, being like, this is mine. That's gross.
Yeah.
You might have spent the time baking the cake, but that's my cake.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah. Everybody in the comments
Yeah,
agrees. She's not the asshole.
Well, what's sad though is actually, now that I think about it, Stewart is one of the few names that actually works with. Because I'm looking at our names like Christina, Jordana, Jokra doesn't work. Although I mean, Jokra, that'd be hilarious. I'd love to meet a little child named Jokra.
Like a little okra.
I think we got time for one more.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a good one, right? We've all had relationships. Okay, so am I the asshole for calling my wife fat? Ooh, spicy title. Okay. I, 34 male, work in a physically demanding field. Myself and my coworkers are all fit people without a lot of body type variety. My wife, 32 female, is fat. The thing is, she's always been fat. The whole time I've known her, we dated when she was fat. We got married when she was fat. She knows she's fat. She's fat and she's beautiful. Hold on. Stick with me, guys. Stick with me. Hold on. Stick with me.
I'm just glad he finally threw in another adjective there.
I'm happy if she loses weight, and I'm happy if she stays where she is. I think she's the most beautiful woman in the world as is. Now, one of my coworkers, Julia, 28 female, started complaining that she's too fat to be loved, and fat people don't get to be loved. Julia isn't fat. She's maybe 120 pounds. She works out 5 times a week and barely ever eats. I told her that wasn't true and that my wife was fat. She got really red in the face and started telling me I wasn't allowed to call my wife fat, that I was insulting her, and that my wife was beautiful and curvy. Carol, the wife, doesn't like being called curvy. She thinks it's a label used to avoid calling people fat because it's a dirty word to most people. I told Julia as much. Julia started threatening to tell my wife I called her fat. She pulled up her Instagram and told me she was messaging Carol that I was being mean. I beat her to the punch and called my wife, put her on speaker, and asked if she was curvy or fat. Carol laughed and said, I hate curvy shit. Fat and beautiful, baby.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what are your guys' thoughts on that one?
I mean, that's kind of my fault. I should have stopped halfway through and got your reactions, but it seems like she doesn't like being curvy. She likes being called fat. She likes to own up.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, yeah. If the wife is cool with it, like, that's between him and her. If your relationship bothers somebody else, who care about you? No, I'm not spending the rest of my life with you.
Yeah. I feel like too, like from like a woman's perspective, it's one of those things you can ask, because you know there's girls that be like, oh, I'm just a big girl, I'm big bone, or you know they're like, oh, I'm curvy, you know, or I'm, of course, yeah, fat is like, like you would think it's like kind of like derogatory, be like fat, but I guess it's like how they want to be like known, you know, and it goes, which is funny, like in my little perspective aspect for me, like I'm gay. You can call me gay. At the time, like, you know, now there's different kind of ways to be like, what kind of gay are you? You know? And I, like, you know, tell people, oh, I'm masked. Like, I'm not butch, but I'm masked. But, like, little things like that. Like, if you ask people, like, oh, what do you want to call? So this girl, like, might have been like, yeah, like, I think I'm fat, but you're not fat. And then you're like, oh, yeah, my wife is fat and beautiful, and then that girl, like, if she knew the relationship, would know, like, I'm not being rude, like, she likes being called fat, she don't like being called curvy kind of thing. So I feel like it's just, you know, people just like to jump to like conclusions before they even know, like, that, oh, I love my wife is beautiful and she's fat. Like,
I'm sure, yeah, for Julia, the coworker, it's like horrifying being like, oh, my coworker today was just talking about how fat his wife was.
yeah.
It's like, no, they're fine with it.
Yeah.
And she's 120 pounds. Shut up, you 120 pound twig.
Yeah, she's probably
Your
like,
opinion doesn't matter.
yeah, like a third of the wife's size. Yeah.
Do you guys use any different like adjectives for fat?
Big
I
back.
know for me, I like thack. I like thack. For me, like, I'm fat, but when sometimes I see them women, they either curvy or they thack. Like,
I've just heard thick with the 2 C's, thick and big back.
Oh my god. I guess like I don't really like call people like that, like unless I'm mad or something and like you like I don't know, unless like I don't really say that.
They cut you off
like,
in traffic.
I guess like when other women call each other like the B word, you know, because I don't really want to cuss and say it. I can't say it. Like I can't be like, I can be like if I'm mad at you, be like, oh my god, you're being, you know. But I can't just be like, what's up? Like I don't know. Like I feel like it's disrespectful, but then it's just a name, you know. Or it just I don't know. I can never be like that. Like so when it comes to women, like unless you be telling like you tell me like it's okay to call me fat, then I'm like, okay. But I feel like because I grew up so self-conscious too. When I remember like someone had called me fat and I was like, and then it's like when someone had like called my like sister fat, like I was ready to throw hands because I was like, oh hell no. Like, but it's different how it's said, you know, like if someone's like okay with it, then okay, cool. You know, you're fat. Like, but I don't know. I just feel like in my perspective, I feel like I can't say it. Like I feel so bad because then I'm like, damn. Because there's times where I'm like, dang, I'm fat, but like that's just my mind like messing with me.
Like you said, I think it depends on the connotation. If you're just talking among friends or something, oh, I feel fat today. But if you just point at people on the street, look at that fat guy.
Yeah, that's messed up. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I've never called somebody else fat. Yeah, I actually I only use like, fat for myself.
Over the course of life, sometimes I'll be like, oh, there was this fat guy at the store.
But there's usually like a story coming from that, though. You're like, oh, so this fat guy that I helped.
Yeah, like it helps. Sometimes, yeah, it helps contextualize the story. Like, why does it matter that they were fat? Like, what happened? And then you come to find out they knocked over a display or something. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was pertinent information.
This fat guy was eating broccoli. You should have seen it.
I saw this fat guy at the gym. Okay.
Trying to better himself. Wow. No. The Redditor, he got taken to HR apparently. And then he gave them the whole spiel about how the wife is cool with it. And they were just saying how the other girl, the coworker, was overreacting and just ignore her. And that and then they don't talk anymore. And then all the commenters were saying that the wife sounds like lovely and like she sounds nice and confident, and how Julia has issues, personal issues to work on.
That's true. That is her. That if she does have, she's 120 pounds and she thinks she's fat. She's got some like body image things. She's clearly has to work out. So I'm sure fat has a very different meaning to her. So that makes
or attention
sense.
seeking. You know, just wanting that validation. Like, look at me. Oh, I'm so fat. No, you're not.
Yeah,
that's true. Well, women do that too. Did you have another one, or because it sounded like I cut you off earlier?
Oh no, you're good. I was just gonna go on to the other half where he got taken to HR, and that things are cool between him and his wife, especially. I do have one more if you guys want it.
Yeah, why not? Because that was a good one. It's got to top that off. Man started off by calling his wife fat like 30 times, and then finally explained that she was beautiful.
Like, I know. I gotta get better at narrating. I got to pick the spots where to pause, and I should have let that one gestate for a minute. All right. So this one is: am I the asshole for yelling at my wife for firing our babysitter and making her cry because she called an ambulance? Now this one is a bit of a doozy. I might pause and like take a breath here and there. Let me know if we lose connection. Hello Reddit. I have just downloaded Reddit because my niece said I should post this story. So basically, here's what happened. Me and my wife hired our babysitter who we've been going to for years. We have 2 sons and a daughter, and we've been hiring her since my oldest son was baby, though it was mostly her mom looking after the baby, helping She's now 16 and can look after the kids all on her own, and my oldest 2 love her. My youngest is only 7 months, so I'm not sure she really gets it yet. This Friday, my kids' daycare has been closed for renovations. Daisy, the babysitter, has kindly offered to take care of them after school from 3 to 6. I get home from work at 6, and my wife gets home at 6:30. However, I got home early from work that day. When I got home, I found my wife yelling at Daisy, the babysitter, and Daisy was just sobbing and apologizing. I asked my wife what was going on. All she did was start yelling at Daisy, and because Daisy had cost us a bunch of money. My first thought was that she'd broken something, but my wife wasn't telling me what it was. She told Daisy she wouldn't be paying her for her time and to get the F out of her house and never come back or she'd call the police. Daisy then ran out crying, and I let my wife to calm down while I comforted my kids. They were all crying in different rooms. When everything had calmed down, I got the full story. My mother had been looking after the kids. Damn, this is the same day? Okay, yeah. My mother had been looking after the kids until 3, and then Daisy came up to watch the kids, and then we knew we could trust her with the babies since she looked after my daughter alone. Something important that you should know is that my youngest son has breath holding episodes, which occur when he gets frustrated or is in pain. And he will just hold his breath, he will just hold his breath. But to stop him, you have to blow on the baby or they will just snap out of it on their own. They're completely normal and relatively safe in babies. However, the episodes can sometimes cause passing out and blueness, and it's normal, and he usually wakes up within a few seconds. To cut a long story short, my mom forgot to tell Daisy what to do if that happens, and when the son passed out, Daisy panicked and called 911. And then the wife is now angry that Daisy called 911 for nothing and has now wasted our money on an ambulance ride. I think Daisy did the right thing, and yesterday talked to her. She thinks, and the wife thinks that for a few days while she thinks over my priorities in the relationship. Does that make sense? I'm sorry. I don't like the way that they wrote the story, but when I read it the first time, it made sense.
It was very chronological.
Yeah.
They came in with the timestamps and everything.
True.
0520.
Yeah. Yeah, so apparently they had a babysitter watch their kids, and then one of the kids passed out for holding a breath episode, and Daisy, the babysitter, called an ambulance, and the wife was mad about it.
Yeah, get a new wife.
Yeah,
Sounds
like,
like she sucks.
but she should have told her, like, this is what my kids do. Like, whatever, like, if you're babysitting someone, you're going to tell them my kid likes to randomly hold his breath and pass out. Like, it's okay, though. Like, you know, if someone were to pass out, I'd be like, what do I do?
Can you imagine if you're babysitting for somebody and, like, you're suddenly holding a blue baby and you're like, hey, let me call up the mom real fast. Let's see what's going on. Like, hey,
Exactly.
Hey, ma'am, your baby looks like a blueberry. Is this normal? Like,
Yeah, can you imagine
What
if
else
she
you
stopped
expect her
and
to
called
do?
the mom and be like, hey, is this okay? And then what if it was the other way around and the mom was like, what are you doing? Like, is my kid dead?
Yeah.
Like, so I think Daisy's, she did the right thing. She didn't know,
Yeah.
panicked essentially.
maybe it's just an emotional. Well, no, it's not even an emotional response from the wife, because she's like, oh, you tried to save our kid's life. How about all the money you spent? It's like,
Exactly.
What the heck?
Yeah.
Priority, straight lady.
Yeah, like if you're not gonna disclose this information to me, like my bad for calling the ambulance, because that's the responsible thing to do when your kid is passed out. Like,
Yeah, I feel like they should be thankful that she even came to that conclusion in the spur of the moment. It's just like, oh, this kid's dying essentially. I better get emergency services. But yeah, this one commenter said, not the asshole. Your wife is truly, truly awful. And I hope you're having her read these responses. And it's just, yeah, everybody's saying like you said, the wife doesn't even care about the emotions. She's just like, oh, no, we got all these bills and thanks for taking care of my kid.
oh my god.
Can you imagine if they did lose the kid and she's like, but think about all the money I saved you.
Oh no.
Oh, geez.
Now you can go on that trip you've always wanted.
Oh my
God.
god. One less ticket, I guess.
It costed you one baby.
Yeah. Oh my. Well, for all that toxic masculinity in the beginning, we saved it with, a bad bee.
Yep.
You did flip it there at the end. Kirstyn, thank you for being our first guest on what is actually going to be our last episode of the Your Text Here podcast.
Ooh.
Are we calling this season 0 or season 1?
Yeah, this will be season 0, I think. We're actually going to be rebranding after this episode. We got a new name. We're trying to. We learned from our mistakes. We did some stupid things. That's now on camera, and we want to start over. We want to do it differently. So this is going to be the last episode of the Your Text Here podcast. Next week, it'll have a brand new name, a brand new shine, same old hosts. Well, once we get the new podcast started up, we'll definitely want to bring you back unless you're sick of
Definitely.
us. You're...
Nah. This is actually fun, which is good because it's like we get to reconnect and just kind of jokes, which is good. So it's always needed to kind of reconnect. Like that's what like Jordan and I were talking about, like how we've known each other for so long, and even like when we go distant for a minute, it's because of our lives and whatnot. But it's just to come back and like feel like it's old times again. Like that's actually like you know, that's something I like and cherish in friendships when it comes to that. I'm down.
Yeah, and even like from my point of view, like we said earlier, you and I never really hung out outside of work, but maybe that one time, and then we would just catch up a little bit at work. But for like the limited amount of interaction we had, for me at least, personally speaking, you still had an impact. So when I heard you were coming on, I was like, yes, cool, let's go.
Aww.
So this will be fun.
Yes, I'm excited.
Yeah, I don't even think Joker was married. He wasn't married. He didn't have kids yet. Was he dating his now wife at that time yet?
I don't remember what year it was, but I know at what house I was in. So I'm pretty sure I was already married, but no kid. No, I'm not married yet. Sorry. But yeah, it's been a weird jumble of time.
Still single and slanging dong.
I think he was with someone because I was like I was at the Golden Nugget in 2015. 2015. No, just kidding. Not 2015. 2014. Yeah.
Were
so I was
with your girl at 2014?
Oh yeah, no, I was with her. Yeah, we weren't married though then. We got married much later.
No dong slinging then, or at least it was just slinging in one direction at least.
Yeah, I was like, he's always been like, you were always a sweetheart. Like when I first met you and stuff. So that's what I remember. And then I remember when she would come in and then you introduced her. So, and then that's when I was like, oh wow.
I would always be embarrassed. Like, oh, it's like, why are you coming into my work? This is where I work.
No, we talk about all the time how everybody loves Joker. Like he brightens up the room with his presence. It's all right. He's a hard guy not to like. So
exactly.
And I mean, and it was the same thing with you. I don't think there was anyone on our team that did not get along with you.
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone got along with me. I just got into it with one person, and I know she was giving everyone a hard time. I don't know if you guys know who. And like I remember,
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I had to go off on her at one point because like she was in the back at the Golden Nugget. So like the Starbucks that was like right next to the entrance or whatever. Like she was in the back not doing anything, and then she was all like tripping out, and then I had to go back, and it was very unprofessional of me, but I had to yell at her because I'm like, what are you doing? Like, because she was not listening. It was all about her. And I was just like, oh, yeah.
If it's the person I think it is, I'm pretty sure I've gone off on her a few times.
I think so, yeah.
As soon as we stop recording, though, I'm getting names.
Yeah, no, but it was you both that had to deal with it too, because I would hear about it all the time. Or you'd be like, hey, can you like talk to her? And then I'm like, what did she do now? And yeah, it was a lot, but I remember I was just like, oh my god, like yeah. So
I think I know. Crazy.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. I have some idea.
Yeah. So.
But guys, that was the last episode of the Your Text Here podcast. Next week, we'll have a brand new name, a brand new style, probably brand new hair, maybe a new guest, or maybe the same guest. We'll see what happens. Thank you guys for joining us. Hope you had fun. Like, subscribe, do all the things, and we will see you later. I did mine earlier.